Welcome to this training of trigger versus threshold, living under and raising your migraine threshold. We all know what migraine triggers are, right? And I'm sure that you work on avoiding your fair share. Things like alcohol, gluten, MSG, bright lights, perfume, cigarette smoke, chocolate, all of those things we consider triggers. We know it's impossible to eliminate all of the triggers or even learn what they all are, which is why in the Freedom from Migraine protocol, we focus on threshold. So, what is a migraine threshold? Every migraine sufferer has their own unique migraine threshold, a level of triggers that they can handle before it puts them over the edge and they get a migraine. Many migraine specialists understand the importance of knowing your migraine threshold for success and staying well below it to achieve your migraine freedom. Let's use a small bucket and water for an example to explain this. So think of an empty bucket. Think of a kid's bucket, like at the beach, right? So an empty bucket, think of that as your migraine freedom, no pain, right? As the bucket begins to fill up based on triggers you encounter, you start to notice symptoms. So weather settles in and you feel a little neck pain. Add some water to your bucket. You ate chocolate for an afternoon snack and you feel a little brain fog. Add some water to your bucket. You skipped your morning workout and now you have some pressure in your head. Add some water to the bucket. You went out with friends and had a glass or two of wine. Your exhaustion sets in. Add some water to the bucket. You keep doing this until the bucket begins to overflow, and now you have a migraine. So the strategy is to keep your bucket as empty as possible. The less things or triggers that you add to your bucket each day, the less likely symptoms and migraines will set in. In the FFM protocol, we not only teach our clients how to keep their bucket, that water level low or empty, but we also teach them how to trade in that small kid-sized bucket for a bigger bucket so that if you do add water to the bucket, it's going to take longer to spill over. This explains why some days you can eat chocolate or have that glass of wine, and other days you get a piercing migraine from a square of chocolate or, even a half a glass of Chardonnay. The goal is to raise your migraine threshold and live in a way that keeps you under it, avoiding that migraine. Once you learn your migraine threshold and how to increase it based on your daily choices, your need for countless medication to control migraines and their many symptoms will definitely be a thing of the past. You will not have to continue following these strict migraine diets, eliminating all the foods that you love, but you're going to be able to eat and drink in moderation some of the foods that you love again. When I was dealing with daily migraines, I focused way too much on finding the things that triggered me. I thought that what were my things? Weather shift, histamine, MSG, chocolate, my monthly period, AKA hormones, and red wine. Those were kind of on the top. And I did pretty well avoiding MSG and chocolate. I didn't do great avoiding wine, but even when I did avoid all I could, I still got migraines. Plus, let's face it, not every trigger can be avoided. I cannot avoid the weather or my period. So what was I supposed to do about those triggers? And what are you supposed to do? Now, looking back, I see the days that I got, had my migraine pain extremely high were the ones that I exposed myself to way too many triggers, pushing myself way over my migraine threshold. So for example, if there's a day that there's a thunderstorm, I had my monthly period. The night before I didn't sleep well and only got 5 hours sleep. I didn't have time to exercise because I was too tired, plus had this huge deadline at work that I was totally stressed about. Maybe I forgot to eat, bring my lunch to work. So I grabbed something from a food cart along the way. This should not be a day that I indulge in wine and chocolate, right? Because it was a pretty bad day. I'm pretty stressed. I'm going to feel like I deserve to give myself a treat because it was a bad day. So possibly I had that wine, I had that chocolate. but that pushed me right over that migraine threshold and made me pay the price for it with a migraine. Now, on the other hand, if it was a day the weather was beautiful, I got 8 hours sleep and woke up refreshed. I did yoga, I meditated, I had a beautiful, healthy, whole foods lunch. I finished my work project and my boss was really happy with me. I'm probably way under my migraine threshold, allowing me to enjoy some things that maybe another day might trigger my migraine. But when I was dealing with daily migraines, all I could focus on was getting rid of my symptoms by avoiding triggers. I never thought about getting to the root cause of the problem because I didn't know that was possible. So, because most of us don't follow the threshold approach, when that pain sets in, to avoid it, we manage it by using managing tools. We use pills, we use ice, we use heat, we use oils, we use anything that we have read about, somebody's told us about, somebody in a forum that we're listening to has told us about. We use any of those things to try to stop the pain and allow us to push through with our day, right? Because that's the goal, to be able to push through with our day. But it's important to know what damage masking your symptoms can actually cause. We're going to talk about that in another training, but for now, know that getting to the root cause of the problem, the reason that you're having migraines in the first place, and fixing that problem, that's an actual solution. Covering up a symptom and usually not fully accomplishing it is just trying to manage the problem, right? The migraine never goes away when you try to cover up symptoms. It's always lurking in the background, causing damage and waiting to show up with a vengeance. So remember, as you are working towards your migraine freedom, shifting from that trigger mentality, I need to figure out all my triggers, shifting from that to the concept of threshold will make a significant difference in the inflammatory load in your body, allowing you more pain-free days. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out in the group. We are here to support you and help you find your migraine freedom.